Who built the Iron Maiden? For centuries, it has been presented as one of the most terrifying torture devices in medieval history. A human-sized coffin, lined with spikes, designed to kill slowly. It appears in museums, textbooks, films, and popular imagination. But here is the uncomfortable truth. There is no reliable evidence that the Iron Maiden was ever used in medieval Europe. Not once. What most people know about it is a myth. And that myth tells us more about modern society than medieval brutality. The Iron Maiden is often described as a medieval execution device used to punish heretics, criminals, and enemies of the church. Victims were supposedly locked inside as spikes pierced the body without immediately killing them. It sounds believable because medieval justice was brutal, but believable is not the same as true. When historians examined court records, execution logs, and contemporary chronicles from the Middle Ages, something was missing. There were detailed descriptions of hangings, beheadings, burnings, breaking wheels, drownings, but no Iron Maidens, no diagrams, no legal mentions, no eyewitness accounts. The first detailed descriptions of the Iron Maiden did not appear until the late 18th century, more than 300 years after the Middle Ages ended. One of the earliest references came from Germany, where a writer described an alleged execution in Nuremberg in the year 1515. But the source provided no contemporary evidence, no court record, no verification. Later investigations showed that the story was likely invented. So where did the Iron Maiden actually come from? In the 18th and 19th centuries, Europe was obsessed with categorizing the past. Museums were being built, national histories were being written, and the Middle Ages were increasingly portrayed as an age of ignorance and cruelty, conveniently contrasted with modern enlightenment. Curators and collectors wanted artifacts that told a dramatic story. Some torture devices were real, others were exaggerated, and some were assembled from unrelated medieval objects. The Iron Maiden appears to have been one of these creations. Several museum examples were later revealed to be composites, wooden cabinets combined with metal spikes taken from gates, weapons, or animal traps. They were constructed long after the medieval period, then labeled as authentic. Visitors believed them because they wanted to. This does not mean medieval justice was humane. It was not, but it was systematic. Punishments were public, documented, regulated by law. Execution methods were meant to be efficient, visible, and symbolic, not theatrical contraptions hidden from record. Torture, when used, had specific purposes, extracting confessions or enforcing authority, and followed recognizable patterns. The Iron Maiden does not fit that system. It fits something else. A modern desire to imagine the past as monstrous. By inventing devices like the Iron Maiden, later societies could reassure themselves that they were more civilized, more humane, more advanced. The myth became useful. It appeared in exhibitions, school materials, horror stories, films. Each retelling reinforced the lie, and over time, repetition replaced evidence. The most disturbing part is not that the Iron Maiden was fake. It is that the truth was less important than the story. Even after historians publicly debunked the device, replicas remained on display. Tourists continued to photograph them. The myth continued to spread because legends are easier to remember than footnotes. The Iron Maiden forces an uncomfortable question. Why are we so eager to believe in horrors that never happened? while ignoring those that did. Real medieval punishments existed. Real suffering occurred. But the Iron Maiden distracts us from understanding how violence actually functioned in history. It turns systems into spectacles and myths into memories. The Iron Maiden was not a medieval torture device. The Iron Maiden may have been fictional, but medieval Europe did not lack cruelty. It simply used different methods, real ones, recorded by law. One of the most feared was burning. In 1431, in Rouen, Joan of Arc, 19 years old, was burned after being convicted of heresy. The execution took place under English occupation of France during the reign of King Henry VI of England. It was public, legal, and carefully documented. More than a century later, in 1556, Anne Askew, a young English woman in her mid-20s, was burned for her Protestant beliefs. Her execution occurred under Queen Mary I of England during a campaign to restore Catholic authority. The sentence was intended to warn others, not to correct belief, but to extinguish it. Another method was breaking on the wheel. In 1561, in the German territories of the Holy Roman Empire, Peter Stump, a farmer accused of multiple murders, was executed by the wheel. The sentence was carried out under the authority of Elector Frederick III of the Palatinate. The punishment was designed to display absolute justice through prolonged visibility. Earlier, in 1530, Jörg Abt, a convicted murderer and thief, was sentenced to the wheel in German lands ruled by Emperor Charles V. His execution was public, regulated, and recorded, not theatrical, but procedural. For the nobility, the method was often beheading. In 1534, in England, Anne Boleyn, Queen of England, was executed by sword. She was accused of adultery, incest, and treason, charges widely regarded by historians as politically motivated. The order was given by her husband, King Henry VIII, to remove a queen who no longer served his dynastic aims. In 1587, Mary, Queen of Scots, was beheaded at Fotheringhay Castle. She was condemned for treason after being implicated in plots against the English crown. The execution occurred under Queen Elizabeth I of England, following years of imprisonment and political pressure. These were not legends. They were names written into court records, sentences approved by rulers, punishments witnessed by crowds. The Iron Maiden distracts us from this reality. It replaces documented violence with invented spectacle, and by doing so, it makes the past easier to dismiss as monstrous fantasy instead of organized human systems. It was a modern invention, a story built from fear, imagination, and convenience. And that may be the most disturbing truth of all.